How's it going, guys? Day 2 squats, and this session here, oh man, like I was sweating so much. But I think that's just more so to do with the fact that the AC um wasn't turned. I don't want to say it was turned on, but it was on like a high heat throughout the majority of the evening, annoyingly. So yeah, I was sweating like crazy, but work got done. And what we start here is the SSB 1.5 squats. As you can see, I sit down as low as I can, then I come up halfway, then I go back down to the bottom position and I power through. So this is just a variation that you typically see a lot of bodybuilders use, especially when we're looking to try and build muscle in the legs. For me, I did this as an AMRAP, and again, just strengthening my quads, hence why I'm using the SSB as well, just so I can put more tension through my quads, keeping my torso as upright as I can. And it actually feels good working with an SSB. It's quite a popular bar, especially when we're powerlifting. Just with how the bar's designed, it really forces you to work on your upper back as well, to really try and keep that upright posture, for the fact that we're taking the upper back tightness that you would typically be able to engage once you have a straight bar on your back, especially where we squat with a low bar. So using an SSB is just a very more practical, as well as comfortable way of targeting the quads more, especially if you don't have the mobility to hold the bar in a high position on your back, i.e. the high bar position. So you see that in between my rest, I've sped it up because what I'm doing here is an EMOM. So 5 sets, 3 reps on the minute every minute. And again, just mainly just trying to work on the quads. The intensity is really low, so I'm only working at, I think it's 95 kilos here, because it's a 32 kilo bar. I had to be quite specific with regards to the weights I put on here. So again, just working through the motions. Every week, the aim is to try and increase this by 5 kilos. And yeah, just keep building on from there. So this was before my deadlifts, especially when I was prepping before. I would always squat twice a week, bench twice a week, and I'll deadlift once a week. But then I'll do another hip hinge variation, and we've continued on in the same fashion, in the sense that before, or on my deadlift days, I should say, before I deadlift, I'll do my second squat variation or first squat variation, depending on what day I'm training, and then we go from there. So today, as I said before, we started things off with the SSB, and then we follow through with the deficit beltless, or I'm deciding to go beltless, conventional stance deadlift. So the aim with this as well is, again, just working through variations that allow me to engage the most muscle, without as much skill acquisition. So when we're doing the sumo deadlift, it's a lot more technical. Therefore, the positioning is more important than the actual movement in itself, if that makes sense. So with this, I'm just trying to literally lift the weight from A to B. And I don't need to kind of focus on trying to be in a wrap position. Thus, I don't want my form also to compromise, just so I can get more reps in. So by doing a variation like the conventional deadlift, it's just easier for me to get in position and then just smash out a few reps, especially where we were actually working with relatively high repetitions, high rep ranges. Thankfully, only for 2 sets, but nonetheless, again, the aim here is to try and increase the weight anything between 5 to 10 kilos at a time. So this was my second set of 10 reps at 120 kilos. Again, where I was doing this beltless, especially after my squat work, I didn't want to, further fatigue my back. So just thought I'd work with a weight that's more than manageable, making sure I leave plenty in the tank. That's another thing that we're aiming for in this whole block. I am not missing a rep. You've heard me say it on record, I am not missing a rep. So for the videos that you're about to see, you will not see one missed rep, and that's the aim all the way through. Then what you see here is just my accessories. Generally on my deadlift days, I always like to work on my quads, just because I feel like it's a muscle group that doesn't get too fatigued when I do my main work. Therefore, I can really push it, as opposed to doing all of this on my squat day. So I really just like to balance things out by doing any hinge with quads, and then my squat work, I'll then do the any posterior chain work, so like glutes, hamstrings, and go from there. So there you have it. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you for day 3.